Greetings. So, making a little video diary, vlog type thing, whatever you want to call it. And I have been making these for a while. I've just not posted any of it. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the first one I'm going to post just because this is a journey that I want to share. This particular part of my journey is one that I want to share. Not necessarily trying to share any particular message. If you may not resonate with what I'm saying or even be interested in it, I don't care. I'm posting this for me. There is a lot that I want to share. So I have been doing my writing and my journaling, but yeah, I just want to talk about it. Maybe it will help someone on their journey in whatever way, which is a bonus. Great. Yeah, but this is for me. So yeah. And what I'm going to talk about, a lot of the people closest to me don't even really know about it. So yeah, if you watch this and you're finding out the news, don't take it personally. I've not told you directly. I haven't been feeling like talking to anybody, to be honest. Yeah, so call me. Yeah, so found out maybe like 2 weeks ago, just over 2 weeks ago, that I am growing a little bean. Yeah, pregnant. So it was unexpected. I was taking precautions, but obviously not enough. So yeah, it came, sooner than expected. I've always been excited to be a mum, and I've always said that I'll have my first child by the time I'm 28. Just turned 27, so I did will that into the universe. As I approached age 28, I was like, okay, maybe I need a couple more years. Still, places I want to go, things I want to do. But yeah, I'd already put that out into the universe, so I'd been working on it. So yeah, it was a shock to find out, and it gone through the usual expected what the fuck moments. Yeah, it didn't come at the most ideal time, but I know that it's a rarity that it does. But yeah, so gone through usual, waves of emotion, from feeling, oh my gosh, this is a blessing, to what the fuck, I can barely even look after myself. How am I gonna, look after a child? So I've gone through all of that. I feel like I don't really need to go in too much on that side of it. Thought about my options, looked into my options, and decided to go ahead with it because I just don't feel like I can, even, going the natural kind of like herbal route. I just can't see myself doing it. So yeah, I'm going with it, and keeping the faith that everything logistically is going to work itself out. The main thing is, I'm in a loving relationship, and there is support there. So yeah, everything will work itself out. I'm confident of that. But it's just been mad. So I wanted to just talk about the symptoms that I go through, because you see all the time, like women with the pregnancy and they've got this beautiful glow. I may talk a little bit about, the morning sickness and stuff, but it's so much more than that. Like right now it's just gone midday. I've not long been up. But yeah, it was weird because I think when I found out I was maybe like 5 weeks 5 weeks pregnant. I'm not being for a scan or anything. I'm actually trying to avoid the hospital as much as possible. And I'll be working with a doula or a birth worker soon. Yeah, but as soon as I found out the news, it's like the symptoms started just like that. So I thought, it must be, psychosomatic. Is the right word psychosomatic? Just, the, what you're thinking of and what's in your mind is manifesting in the physical form. So yeah, as soon as I found out, I was just like, first I was just wanting to eat everything. I was like, yeah, this must be, just kind of more stress eating, because at that stage, you're not eating for two. I've actually read in certain places that whole eating for two concept is a myth, because you're not doing as much anyway for the most part. It's only towards the end of your pregnancy you only need to increase your intake by 200 calories, but again, I know that is different. It's going to differ person to person. So yeah, at first I was just feeling just hungry and wanted to eat everything, but at the same time feeling nauseous, so not wanting to eat anything. But yeah, I do put a lot of that down to stress, just because of the time at which I found out and the things that were going on at that time. And then I went through maybe from week 6, I started the fatigue setting. I was just sleep and I still am. It's still here. It's still going strong. I was just wanting to sleep all the time. I really struggled. Just even if I was sleeping for 10 hours plus at night, I'd be waking up just feeling like I slept for about 2. Struggle. I practice 3 times a week with my teacher Sematawi online at 6:15 in the morning, and yeah, it was a real struggle. A real struggle doing that. And I was, even if I was sleeping as I was saying 10 plus hours at night, I'd still be having to take naps during the day, 2 plus hours, just fully sleeping. I've seen the benefits of having afternoon naps, but I've been reluctant to give time to them, because I'm just used to I've just got things to do. So if I've managed to just kind of I'll occasionally take it if I really, really need to. But yeah, these ones have been unavoidable. And it's been very hard to get used to as somebody with an active lifestyle. I've been through the lockdown. Well, yeah, through the lockdown, I've been working hospitality, so on my feet, all day, in a coffee shop. So not waitressing or anything. But then when the lockdown was lifted, and people could go out from April the 12th and sit outside, I was doing more waitressing, so much more active. And that was around about the time that I found out that I was pregnant. So yeah, it was a lot. I the burnout really, really hit very soon. And it was confusing, because I'm used to doing so much more, working, as well as doing my practice and, training, being in the gym. Well, I say that, but they've been closed. So yeah, doing my practice, and I'm always out and about on my bike. And yeah, all of that was just impossible. So it was really hard to get my head around. It was, throughout this whole lockdown, coronavirus, pandemic madness, it's kind of forced us all to slow down anyway, which I've had to do, and I've actually enjoyed doing. But yeah, this was just stop. which was hard because I got shit to do. I got bills to pay, so I couldn't completely stop. So there was a little bit of internal battle going on there. But yeah, I just had to surrender to it. Yeah, and then from like week 6, week 7, the morning sickness kicked in. Like they say it peaks at like 9 weeks, something like that, but mine just started just like that. And a lot of the days it wasn't just in the morning, it was throughout the day, throughout the night. Yeah, just feeling really. And there was one week actually, I think it was week 6, where I couldn't stomach anything other than broth. Like the thought of pretty much all food repulsed me. The food that's just kept me going like my whole life. Even my lemon water in the morning, moringa. I've not been able to stomach any of my herbs. So yeah, it's been challenging adapting to the change in my diet and my appetite. The most actually, because at the moment I'm currently now, I think 8 weeks. I've not, as I've not been for a scan, so this is just an estimate, based on the date of my last period. But my body is rejecting fruit. Like every time I have fruit other than banana, yeah, it just rejects it. I just throw it straight back up. Mangoes, blueberries. Had blueberries yesterday and was like being sick in the evening, and I'd had like a little like microdose of mushrooms, magic mushrooms, just 0.5. Think what you like about that. It's safe. They're of the earth. Yes, I was like, they did hit me hard because I'm not eaten too much. Well, I had eaten. I had a big lunch, but not that was hours and hours before. And I forgot that I had these blueberries, so I was being sick and like with the shrooms, it looked red, so I was fucking freaking out, like, oh my god, like, yeah, and that's another thing. I've just been like, there's also been like the fear, like not really knowing, what I can and can't do. Like I've been reading, like fully overloading myself with information on how to train, things to eat, my yoga practice, how I need to adapt that. But still, I've just still had that fear because first trimester is the most, your fetus is most vulnerable because it's still attaching and forming those connections and whatnot. So yeah, I'm trying to stay, like, I know I'm bouncing around a lot here. There's a lot of thoughts in my mind, a lot of things that I want to get off out of my mind into the camera. Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, I was talking about my diet and appetite. Yeah, so my body's just rejecting fruit. When I do try and have my lemon water in the morning, like I've taken out all the herbs. At one point I was trying to put like ginger in there because that's meant to be good for nausea and sickness, but just can't. Everything just repulses me, like the smell of everything. It's like like when you're really full, you've eaten too much, or you're too hydrated, or hydrated enough and you just don't want anything else. I just feel like that all the time, even when I haven't eaten. It's really weird. But yeah, my body's rejecting fruit, but is welcoming and craving fucking like dead foods, like chips and meat. Like I haven't craved meat for so long. I went to the gym when I first found out with my friend, and afterwards I was like, I want a fucking steak sandwich. I was like, I want a steak sandwich with cheese, onions, salad, tomatoes. I was like, I'm surrendering to the cravings, because you know it's obviously there for a reason. I know, been eating mainly plant-based for last few years now. Still been eating fish here and there. You know, if someone cooks me, or like if it's a home cooked meal with like chicken in it, or very occasionally like red meat, beef or lamb or whatever, I will eat it. But I haven't been, you know, going out and buying it. Oh, and eggs. I've been having eggs here and there as well. But yeah, have not been craving meat or anything at all, really. But yeah, I was like, I need a steak sandwich. So over the course of the next few days after that, I had like steak sandwich. I went to Old Trafford Bakery just to get some bread for the sandwich, and I saw they had like red pea soup, and I'm only ever used to having red pea soup from a place that I used to work, like a vegan food spot, a vegan Caribbean food spot, and so I didn't know it had meat in it as standard. Yeah, so I had that. It was delicious. I ate the shit out of it. But yeah, then I'd already got all the things for the steak sandwich, so I had that as well. So I feel like I did kind of overload myself with meat the first few days, and then after that, I couldn't stomach anything other than broth. So I had to order out a couple of times, because I didn't have the energy to go and to do my groceries. You know, the person who I'm sharing this experience with is working a lot, you know, so he's around and supportive, but you know, through the day, you know, I gotta sort my shit out. But yeah, I didn't have the energy to do it, so I think, well, and that's another thing that's really foreign to me. I don't order out ever. Like, well, of course I do sometimes, but very very occasionally. And yeah, I was just fucking spending bare money on ordering out because I didn't know what else to do. So yeah, for like a week I was just, and then eventually I managed to get some stuff together to make some broth. So just living off veggie broth, and I think I was having like bananas for breakfast, or a banana for breakfast. Trying to get like, you know, some. I made the veggie broth with beans, so there was some protein in there. Yeah, so that was kind of like maybe a week ago, something like that. And yeah, since I've kind of come out of that, I've just been wanting carbs. Just bread. I had on, what day is it today? Today is Monday. On Saturday I had fish and chips. Yesterday I was craving chicken and waffles, so I went to get chicken and waffles. I've had chicken and waffles one time in my life, like back in it being 2016 or 17, when I was in Harlem. When I was in New York, I went to get them from Harlem. I've not craved them since then. I was like, I'm not going to get chicken and waffles like they do over there here. But I had a hankering for chicken and waffles, so I went to get some. And yeah, just been craving fucking shit food. And it's a cycle, because I know that what I'm able to eat is not helping my energy levels. I'm also, sorry this is too much information, but I'm also well backed up. Like, yeah, I'm not going to go too much into that, but yeah, I was started to do enemas just to help that. Was doing those for like, I would plan to do it every day for a week, but did maybe like 4 days, and I was like, okay, let me just see if I can, you know, have a bowel movement without doing one. And yeah, 2 days later, tumbleweeds. So yeah, just basically experiencing all the symptoms on a physical level that you can imagine, or that is kind of common at this stage of pregnancy. And you know, I always plan to cleanse when I decide it's time that I want to, you know, have a child, me and the person I would be having that child with would cleanse for very least 3 months. Like fully just clear this shit out, both being on our healing journey for time, it's just kind of our lifestyle, just kind of, just doing the energy work that we need to kind of, deal with the shit that's gone on and that is currently going on in our life. Yes, but like on a nutritional level, on a physical level, yeah, I would have insisted on a solid cleanse before, trying to grow life inside of me. But yeah, that didn't happen, unfortunately. But we've been eating okay. It definitely could have been worse. But yeah, like on an emotional level, as I said at the beginning, that's I've been through all the waves of fear. Your general fear of the unknown. Thinking, can I do this on my own? Not knowing, like nothing in the future is promised, no matter how it looks today. So there's all that going on. The fear of, losing a child. Like I've had a miscarriage before. When I was 18, didn't know I was pregnant. But yeah, there's all that fear. It's like, I don't want to go through that again. It's yeah, not a nice feeling. You don't want to form that attachment and then for something like that to happen, but just having the fear and holding on to the fear is increasing the chances of that happening anyway. So I had all that, back and forth with myself. There's also, healing my mother wound that it's been ongoing for like consciously for like over a decade now. And I've always been excited to be a mum because of, the relationship I have with my mum. She's kind of been great. She's me and my older brother brought up as, a single parent family. And she's done an amazing job. She's worked really hard to provide for us. But there's certain emotional things that have affected me. That I, now as I'm older, recognise it's passed on from her mum. So though my mum is conscious of that, we've had conversations about it before. It's the cycle's still continuing. There's things that have been going on where it's like I know and that that's a projection of what you've been through. And it's never really made sense to me because she's conscious of it. It's never really made sense to me that, she's not taking the time to, have an open conversation about it, and break the cycle. And I'm just like, oh, well, I went through this, so this is how it is. That's never made sense to me. So that's one of the reasons that I've always known that at some point I am going to be a mum, because of course I don't know everything because I don't have a child. Like I've just been looking forward to breaking that cycle, and that was another fear that set in, like the fear of kind of karma coming back around, and if I have this child and I can put all the love that I have into them, like what if they still grow up to really resent me? Like what and what if just that question, the feelings that I feel towards my mum, what if they are invalid? What if I am being completely out of order in expressing certain things to her? Cause that is what I keep getting told. That I just need to kind of get over it and move on. And yeah, there's a lot to it. I'm not going to go into it, but yeah, that's kind of the essence of it. just not really having the space to speak openly about, you know, how I'm feeling, and why certain things have affected me how it has. So that's kind of like been a lot of the mother wound healing that's been going on. So yeah, it's got to a point now where well, I've kept returning to the point where I've realised that, you know, I just need to distance myself from my most of my immediate family, because it's keeping this cycle going within me. Like Spirit has always been telling me from the very first instance, like from, you know, moving out as soon as I was old enough to, and living independently since then. Spirit has always told me to, yeah, just do me and keep my immediate family at arm's length. You know, love remains, of course, but I've always kind of felt happier and more content within myself when, you know, I'm maybe is a little bit of animosity, but, you know, from me, it's always still love. But yeah, just keeping people at arm's length. That's how I've always felt comfortable. What I've always felt comfortable doing. But yeah, I've then had like the rest of the family like, oh, you know, it's family. You know, you've got to just, you know, sweep it under the rug and just get on with each other. You know, you need your family, all that. So cycles and cycles keep continuing because I keep coming to the same resolution, then getting backlash from, you know, everyone else telling me to you know, be the bigger person and whatnot. So that's what I do, but it still leads to the same place, because end of the day, if anything that is suppressed will resurface, especially if you are, be that directly or indirectly, you know, especially if, you know, like me, you do a lot of, you know, inner work, self-inquiry, self-reflection. You know, nothing goes unaddressed with me. Like I have to talk about my shit if it's affecting me for a long period. Some things, you know, you can just let them go. Is what it is. But yeah, it's anyway. Fucking hell. Yeah, so it's got to a point now, like Sematawi, my teacher, Sematawi RebuYogi, I'll try and remember to post a link to the video that he made about talking about that underneath, just talking about, you know, how, well, the title is Family is Overrated. You're not, I can't remember the second part of the title. Anyway, yeah, he goes into it a lot better than I can articulate right now. So I've come to the point now where, like, I'm not going round in that cycle anymore. So it kind of feels like I'm kind of fully having to sever that connection, that heart connection, between my mum and I, and my older brother. And I'm able to do that because I don't really feel like I'm losing out on much in doing so. Because yeah, anyway, let me not get into it. But that's part of like the emotional things that I've been going through relating to pregnancy, because it's probably, you know, the toughest time to come to a resolution like that. When I'm about to become a mum myself, you know, your mum is, you know, the first connection you make, the first relationship you have. You know, and it's led to all kinds of things, you know, like the feeling of being a fraud or an imposter when, you know, I claim to be, you know, pro-woman, advocate for women. Yeah, the relationship with my own mum is kind of really shit. So yeah, there's been that, and then the fear of the cycle coming back around, you know, thinking that, you know, if how I feel and the things that I try and speak about, the things that I express to my family are, and the way I feel towards them what if they are just I know I've said this already. What if they are like just completely out of order, invalid, and then that cycle just repeats anyway. So yeah, I'm a highly sensitive person, and I overthink many things. There's really no point in fearing what you don't know. I'm a big believer in universal law, the law of manifestation, which is can be a vicious cycle in itself, because in being so aware of your thoughts, it's like, oh my god, I don't want to be thinking about this because I'm manifesting it. Obviously there's more to it than that, but yeah, there's it's a lot. When as women, we have a very strong intuition, especially as women who do a lot of self-practice, self-inquiry, reflection. But I feel like since having this little grape, apparently it's the size of a grape now, I have an app that tells me the size of the fetus week by week. Apparently now it's the size of a grape or a snail or a cola bottle, like little sweets. So, yeah, since conceiving, I guess I feel like my intuition's become really strong, and it's impossible for me to ignore what spirit is telling me. Though saying that, I've felt while the way that we're going, how we've been living, I guess, it is, it feels like we've pretty much decided to continue with the pregnancy. That was my foot moving, I didn't just fart, by the way. I don't know if you heard that. Yeah, I have been like thinking, like just really trying to connect with spirit, and like just thinking, what should I do? What the fuck should I do? And at times it does feel like spirit is telling me two opposing things, that I'm not ready. Thinking about, the things that, the intentions that I had over the next few years. Just where I am in life. Like I'm not I'm in stable. I got my own place, but it's a sublet. So yeah, I know that I am gonna have to move again. Yeah, and just as I was saying with the whole cleansing thing, and the relationship between me and my person. I hate these flipping labels and definitions of relationships and people, which you can see I'm struggling with it. What was I saying? What the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, I was talking about being ready, spirit telling me opposing things. Yeah, so on one hand, there's yeah, that's what I was saying. So yeah, when I found out, things have been rocky for a while within this relationship. So there was all of that. But then on the other hand, with the precautions that I was taking, and for it to still happen, then I believe that it's meant to happen right now, as well as willing it into the universe from a relatively young age, and just the changes that I've seen within me and within the relationship. It kind of does feel like it is something that we both needed, just with what we've been through, and where we're going. So yeah, yeah, it's been confusing. It's been confusing, but also very clarifying. You know, as a person that loves to travel and do different things all the time, try new things. It's really made me prioritize effectively. You know, I was reading The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, the book by Mark Manson, a while ago, a few weeks ago, a month ago, something like that. And he's talking about freedom and the meaning of freedom, and you know, talking about freedom on one hand is like, he was traveling for like 5 years. Before I was in Manchester, I was traveling backpacking only for like 9 months, but that was my intention in life. I only planned to come back to Manchester for a couple of months and then get off again. But 3.5 years later, here I am, which I'm grateful for. You know, I'm glad that I've stuck around and built here, because now I do feel like I have a base and a home, which I've not really felt since leaving my mum's. Well, even like a year or so before leaving. Yeah. So freedom on one hand is that ability to just like when you are traveling, or just kind of like living free spiritedly or whatever, you know, and just waking up, only having to think about yourself, being able to do whatever you want to do, go wherever you want to go, just get off on a whim, which is something that I've always been itching to get back to doing. Like, you know, I've always been, you know, working towards. I try and get off at the start of every year for a solid amount of time, which obviously I've not been able to because of this whole like pandemic thing. Because, you know, I do love having that freedom. Like, I've known that I'm not going to go like the whole aimless backpacking route again. Like, you know, if I was to travel now, it would be with more intention. You know, now I've got the qualifications that I have and have the experience that I have, you know, I can travel with more intention and build around the world. Like when I was traveling last time, I made a lot of friends in all corners of the world, which is great. A lot of fun. But yeah, nothing solid came of it really. Just lots of good memories, which I'm again eternally grateful for. And I'm really grateful that I've experienced that kind of freedom. But freedom also comes from having less, how am I going to phrase this? Freedom also comes from like refining your opportunities, you know. So in not having all those options, in not being in that place where you can just do whatever you want, it is it's freeing to just be focusing on one thing. You know, it's freedom from that thought, oh, you know, what can I do next? You know, and as somebody who has, you know, many goals, intentions, ambitions for life, you know, I realise that they are conflicting because, you know, I've always known that, you know, I'm not built to work for people my whole life. I'm always going to be setting up my own business. And end goal, it would be like a physical presence, you know, a big space with many things going on, which is kind of what we're working on at the moment. But yeah, there was that was in having that ambition, but also, you know, just wanting to travel and see the world. It's not freeing because I can't focus on either. You know, like I can be here and be building and working really hard, but it's always with that I'm working towards leaving. So I'm like, what's the point in really working hard to build here. When I was in a long distance relationship, up until last year. Was it last year? Yeah. So that in itself wasn't really freeing, because I was like, yeah, I'm here in Manchester, it feels like home, but I'm probably gonna leave and move overseas, because that's where we thought I was gonna go. So yeah, the freedom also comes from knowing what you're doing and focusing on that. It frees you from thinking, oh, but this is an opportunity and that's an opportunity. I could be doing this, could be doing that. That's very restricting. If that's your one and only ambition, then yeah, liberating as hell. Do it, do your thing. But yeah, if you're also wanting to build something, form strong connections, then yeah, it's limiting. It's very limiting. So yeah, like in finding out this news, it's shit got real. I'm like, okay, all my decisions matter, and it actually led me to feeling kind of lost, because I've just been like, I'm one to kind of like, I'm Aries, and I'm Aries as fuck. I got 3 planets. I got Sun, Moon, and Mercury in there. So I'm great at starting things. My longevity fucking sucks. Those who kind of follow me and follow my journey will see them always doing different shit. I enjoy doing different shit. I enjoy starting different shit. And I take everything as like diagnostic, and everything that I do eventually will, tie into itself, tie into one another, eventually, and kind of already is, to be fair. But not as seamlessly as I intend to. Yeah, I've always liked to just kind of like, oh, I have this idea, I have the resources and the capacity to try it. Let me try it, and try it for a little bit, and then be like, come away from it and regroup. That's kind of like how I work. I like to. I don't like. I will do my research, because it's necessary, but I'm a doer. I'm a practical person. But yeah, now, it's important that I think long term, and it's important that I think long term, and thinking, can I sustain this, and thinking long term. Even I have my long term goal, and have done for a long time. Like I'm very much thinking short to medium term. Like what do I want to put my energy into that is gonna help me feel fulfilled in this life right now and over the next few months. So that's kind of like how I've been living and how I've been operating. And then I get bored easy. I like to do different things. I can't work full time. I've done it before. There was a time in my life when I could do it, but not anymore. I like to keep things mixed up, do different shit day to day, and make my own schedule. I don't like running on other people's time. So yeah, thinking long term is something that's very, very foreign to me, and just especially in traveling so much. Like, yeah, literally since finishing school. Like I went to a college that was away from all my friends. I think I went there on my own. I don't think there was anyone else from my school who went. Yeah, I think my best friend was meant to come with me, and then she did something else. Yeah, so even from like age 16, I've kind of like just been off, doing my own thing. So I've come and gone from many people's lives, and many people have come and gone from my life. You know, I feel like I'm quite a transient person. I'm shit at keeping in touch with people. I don't call my family or my friends. I'm trying to do that more. I am getting better at it. But yeah, you know, my heart, I've gone with the belief that, you know, a heart connection is a heart connection. You don't need to be like on the phone and seeing each other all the time, you know, if the love is there. That's how, you know, my relationships have been sustained, with the people who get that. And, you know, I'm thankful that there are, you know, I've never had big group of friends, but, you know, the people who I am close with, they get that, you know. We've all got our own shit going on, you know, so yeah, now that, you know, I'm having this child, I'm like, this person, you know, and the person that I'm in this with are gonna be in my life forever, and I've never been able to imagine that. It's still something that I'm like, oh my god, it's just a bit of a weird thought. You know, I think my closest friends, my longest standing friends, I've known since 2012. Ellie and Georgia. Yeah, was it 2012 or 2010? 2012 art college. So like, yeah, nine years. That is people from school I still speak to, but I won't regard them as like close friends. Still cool and everything, you know. Yeah, so there's been that whole thing, like thinking long term in my career, in my just in my foundation. It has been nice, you know, being in Manchester and starting to become settled. You know, I found an area that I really like living in. But yeah, it's just that thought of, you know, if I decide to, you know, there's more training that I want to do, and I don't want to do that in England. You know, I like to go to the land to receive the initiation. You know, it's like that's, well, I definitely don't believe that that's impossible with a child. It is. There's definitely a lot more planning and thought that needs to go into it. Can't just be like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to work hard for a few months and save up for that. There's way loads more to it. Yeah. So, yeah, I know I've bounced around a lot from subject to subject, and I probably half finished notions. But yeah, I'm posting about this because all these things that I've said out loud now, I've been saying to myself in my mind, thinking, and some of it I've been writing down. You know, when it comes to like the decision making part of things and weighing certain things up, you know, I do try and keep it with my writing. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of changes occurring over the next few months. So yeah, this is just my personal diary. Again, you know, there's probably going to be a few people watching this who didn't know. You know, I know a lot of people don't tell anyone until like after, I don't know, 12 weeks, end of the first trimester, whatever. But yeah, not me. I am shit at I can keep other people's secrets perfectly fine. I can keep my own secrets. I think I have one secret in the entire world, and that's it. Like, I'm shit. Like, when I'm talking to people and people, you know, and I'm checking in, or people messaging me or whatever, like talking like verbally, like not texting and stuff, because it's easy doing that. But like if I'm talking to someone like in person or over the phone or whatever, and they're like just checking in, like, oh, how you doing? I'll be like, oh, I'm all right. You know, I've just been like napping loads and, you know, it's been a bit weird. And they're like, oh, why? And I'm not gonna lie or talk around it because I'm shit at doing both of those things. So people know, you know, now you guys know I don't have many subscribers or followers. But yeah, as I said, I'm posting this for me, because I could record this and not post it for a few weeks, but I don't have the storage on my phone to do that, because I'm always fucking taking pictures and recording random stuff. So yeah, here it is. My journey so far. 8 weeks in. 3 weeks since finding out. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I've missed out. That's it. I've also become very sensitive to the city air. Just, well, as you've probably heard, you know, you get this super sense of smell. So I noticed when me and Ellie went to visit our friend, like over in Leeds, but like out away from the city centre, like on the kind of not the outskirts, but like a more green outer inner city area of Leeds. Like, that was the first day when we stayed over, and that was the first day that I woke up and didn't vomit straight away, and felt, you know, somewhat human. You know, I could eat breakfast, I drank a cup of tea. I drank a cup of tea in the evening and in the morning, decaf tea. I've not been able to stomach coffee. I work at the best coffee shop in Manchester, just on a casual basis, so I'm not there all the time. But it's the best coffee shop. It's a roastery as well. And I'm glad that my nose isn't rejecting the smell of it just yet. But I've not even been able to. I mean, I know it's safe to have like 1 cup of coffee a day, but I've not felt to drink it. And I tried decaf one day, and even the decaf's delicious. And yeah, just couldn't couldn't do it. But yeah, realised when we came back to Manchester, like, and I got out of the car when I pulled up at home, like the stench of Manchester city air hit me, and I immediately just felt so heavy. And like stepping into my house, like, I'm kind of a messy person, you know. I'm shit. I really wish that I wasn't, but things get messy and then I clean them. I'm really bad at like just keeping things clean and tidy. Never have been good at that. But yeah, I just walked into my house and, you know, it just smelled disgusting. Like, it wasn't even, it doesn't get dirty. Like, you know, I do my dishes, you know, every other day, at least. But it just, like, my nose was like, ugh, how the fuck am I living here? Like, and as well, because my friend's house, it's an old house, but it's like a show home. It's always well clean. So I came back here, I was like, oh. So it's kind of relating to what I was saying before, you know, it's kind of automatically, the pregnancy is automatically kind of like kicked me onto a better path, you know, of, well, at first I was eating better. I'm hoping that this is just a cycle, you know, in eating the shit foods in the moment, but just being more aware of what is good and what is bad for me, you know. So I spent a lot of the weekend just cleaning, just doing like a lot of intricate scrubbing of my flat, trying to be, I've always been conscious of what I'm eating, and yeah, just kind of just eating what I physically can at the moment, because just even feeling hungry makes me nauseous, and I just dry heave anyway, which is probably, I feel, worse than actually being sick, when you're just heaving and there's nothing there to come up. Yeah, so just naturally, you know, both being more productive just in building our own, you know, our own stuff, you know, working on the creative things that we've just been putting on the back burner, just letting everything else get in the way of. We're just naturally just been prioritising, you know, building ourselves up, building each other up, and just doing what we have to do to set things up for for the rest of life, you know, because we've just been allowing just life and other people to get in the way of that, which is, it's just not possible to do that anymore. And always been pretty reclusive, but even more so now. But at the same time, you know, recognizing that, especially, you know, with the family relationships that I have, yeah, just really showing appreciation to the people who are in my life. Shout out to you guys, you know who you are. If you see this, call me. I'm gonna call you too. You know, yeah. This is probably gonna be the longest one that I do. Fucking hell, I've been talking for an hour. Wow. See, it's always on loop in my mind. All these things, like I need to get this out. So yeah, I've probably forgotten something, but yeah, I'm gonna keep updating this and chatting more shit. But yeah, if you are on a similar path, you know, especially concerning, that's something else I do want to get into, you know, with the whole mother wound thing. I'll get into it another time. But there's a lot that I want to speak of on that. Whether or not you are, you know, if you've gone through this during pregnancy or even outside of that, is something that I want to speak on more. But yeah, if you see this and it inspires you in any kind of way, I'm glad. Reach out to chat, share experience, you know. Takes a village and all that. Yeah, and just, yeah. That's it. I'm gonna stop talking because I don't talk this much ever, other than when I'm guiding the class. But yeah, 57 minutes of my voice is enough. Peace.